Hello, welcome back to another episode of Boys Gone Wild. I'm joined with a very special guest today, Paddy Young. A lot of the fans have been angry this morning because their normal Friday that starts off with an episode of Boys Gone Wild has been delayed because sadly Mike, who was meant to be on this podcast's voice went down. Paddy, who was hungover yesterday, couldn't do the pod. This morning I had to drag him out of bed about 2 PM. So I had all of these little puppies desperate for a podcast, and I'm trying to give it to them, but then Paddy just needs a couple more hours every time, just a couple more hours.
So this isn't my podcast.
No, it's not.
We're doing Edinburgh Fringe,
Yeah.
which is it's
Yeah.
the end of the month. So
Yeah.
I've not been boozing until like the last week,
Mm-hmm.
and then last night got incredibly drunk. When you do my podcast, I'm like, yeah, just whenever I wake up.
Yeah.
This boy, you came into my bedroom like 5 times.
Yeah.
You stood at the foot of my bed like a little child that pissed the bed that was scared of a ghost or something.
These people are desperate for content, you know. I was messaging any cunt in town.
You up? No, obviously not.
Yeah.
Oh, you up, man? No. No, I'm in bed.
No, it's true. I have been.
Do you know what?
I've got a bit liberal coming into your room, actually, haunting you.
I
like
think
a
we
ghost.
both have, to be fair.
Yes, that's true. We've been living together here at the Edinburgh Fringe. This is the fall of Rome. This is the end of the festival. We did this almost a year ago to the day. We did this same podcast here. But it's been a very different Fringe this year, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year was completely feral with the bin strikes and everything. It felt like just there was a chaos brewing. Whereas this one seems a lot more level-headed.
But also, we're not the poorest cunts in the world now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which we certainly were for a long time.
Yeah, definitely this Fringe has been, it's been nice to know that like it doesn't have to be complete kind of hell. And it's been a more dignified experience, I'd say.
Yeah.
Been 5 of us, 5 boys living in this flat, which I think, I definitely think it's encouraged bad behaviour for sure. I feel Paddy's definitely got, I think, too comfortable sexually with me. I think every time I've bent over, Paddy's had a little go. It has been there's sort of been prison rules here where you have to sort of watch yourself. And it's definitely seeing all these plaudits going to Paddy about, how much of a modern man he is and all this sort of stuff. I think it's often quite hard to read when I know what he's like back home, when domestically I have to deal with his general carry on,
It's been nice.
Yeah, it has been very nice.
To be able to have a month where you can just hug and kiss your best friends whenever you want. Yeah,
it's true. It's been a very homoerotic vibe in this flat for sure. There's been a lot. There's been lots of hugs, lots of kisses.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of, especially if I ever see a girl flirting with you, and if I ever see you not interested, I'm like, this is the wrong way round, because I'm getting bummed the whole time, and I don't want it, and you want something, and he does not. This triangle isn't working well. I'm
looking past at you.
Exactly.
I'm looking at you wanting a drink. I'm like that every day. See you making your toast in the morning. I'm just like this. Do you know what would be crazy?
But yeah, it's been nice. We saw Mission Impossible a couple of weeks in.
Amazing.
Which was probably my pick of the Fringe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We're all big Tom Cruise heads. I mean, Andrew's been a huge fan for a while, and he's properly got me back into it. But I think the last one, I was fully there for it, But we during the film, we did have there was like 4 Scottish 11-year-olds.
Yeah. Who didn't BB help get in?
Yes. BB being a people pleaser. As soon as she saw these 4 11-year-olds struggling.
Imagine the naughtiest looking boys.
Yeah.
Possible. Scottish lads.
Yeah.
Oh, can you get us into a film? Of course not.
No.
Oh, because you'll ruin my experience.
Well, there's a reason they're legally not allowed in, because they're too young. And it's probably the worst behaviour I've seen in a cinema ever.
It's amazing. The naughty kids here, they're so much naughtier than the naughty kids in England.
Everything's just a little bit.
Everything's just 15% more.
Yeah, there's just
the drunks are more drunk.
The drunks, yeah, it is different in Scotland. I mean, you have people who are high and drunk in every major city, but Scotland just do it differently.
When they kicked those kids out of the cinema, they needed 2 security guys.
Yeah,
2 security guys. during Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And they didn't. The security guards, they didn't come in like confident.
Yeah.
They were a bit sheepish.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids wouldn't leave. That's the other thing. The lack of respect.
Yeah.
For an authority figure. Imagine when I was 10 years old. If I was been naughty and the sibling told me to leave, I'd be running out with my tail between my legs.
Yeah.
They're going, fucking no.
Yeah.
We're staying.
We're giving it that as they're on the way out. You know?
Yeah. And then we were giving it back to them.
Exactly.
They left as they walked past. I went, ha ha, and they didn't like that.
Well, I mean, there was 5 of us, and we're all in our 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
and it is interesting wondering. I guess we're sort of some of the only adults in this cinema. Do we tell these kids off? I've never told a kid off yet.
Oh, we did tell them off first.
Well, no, one of us did.
Yeah.
Eric did.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Eric,
I think
Eric's
Mike
like Eric's the Tom Cruise of our group.
exactly.
He's a
I'm
muscular.
Simon Pegg.
He's a muscular American guy. So we're like, no, we can't do it. We need to go the proper way. And
Yeah.
Eric's like,
No, I'll do it. It's the only way. But yeah, I've never told a kid off, and I definitely. So
Really?
Mike had a go telling him off as well. They both did.
that weakens us.
But have you told kids
Yeah.
off? Because I think I need to break the seal with telling kids
do you know
off.
what? It's good.
Yeah, well, you like it.
Yeah. I was walking.
Have you smacked someone else's kid?
No, not smacked. But
I've done that.
I'll do that.
I'll
Just go like that.
Yeah,
I was walking down the street and these the teenagers were throwing something made out of glass, like a glass bottle, but it wouldn't break, and they were throwing it into the road.
Yeah,
and I just went, guys, come on, don't do that.
Yeah,
you know that kids live on this street. I was like, you're smart enough to know, and they were like, they just stopped.
So you had enough authority in your voice.
They probably carried on the moment I left.
Yeah,
but maybe 5 years ago I'd have been like, oh, what are they going to say to me? What if they shout back, whatever? But you say it in a way. The line is like, come on, guys, you should know better.
I guess, yeah, because it's dealing with kids is a tough one because it's like there's not great. The worst case scenario is 4 12-year-olds put you upside down in a wheelie bin.
Heartbreaking.
And you never
have to get a new identity.
You never recover from that.
Imagine your crush sees you being hung upside down by
like 4 12-year-olds, because especially in in London as well. I mean, Edinburgh definitely don't ever talk back to a 12-year-old here. You have no idea. Never ever do it. But yeah, in London you don't. Sometimes these 12-year-olds are like 25 years old. They're just tiny, and you have no idea what they're capable of. You have no idea what they've seen. And they haven't developed the empathy, like frontal cortex, so they're probably some of the most dangerous people on the planet.
Oh yeah, they're sleeper agents.
Yeah,
they're just waiting to go.
Well, 4 12-year-olds could beat you to death and not feel anything.
And they always do.
Yeah.
You ever hear a news article that says 4 teenagers ...
Yeah.
We're looking.
Yeah. They've killed a dog, they've broken into an old woman's house and beaten her to death.
Yeah.
And felt nothing.
They just lose control.
Well, they're just having guilt. Guilt just comes later, proper guilt. So they haven't developed that.
Peer pressure. I think any teenager, if at a certain point in our life, if we were with the wrong people on the wrong day, we'd have all killed someone. Don't you think?
What, growing up as a teenage
Yeah.
boy? Definitely. I remember I was when I was like my first lad's house party when I was like 13. So it was like maybe 12, 13-year-old boys, and I'd kind of been just invited, and they're mainly rugby lads, so I didn't really fit in. But they were kind of testing me out as a boy. So this is like, the guy who's running it put a picture of like 4 crates of Fosters on his posted on Facebook saying, "Gonna have a good night tonight." Everyone's so giddy at the idea of lads beer. And one of them got a kitchen knife out at one point and started laughing and chopping, and I was like, that's
awesome.
This is a BBC News article waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that. I was like, I can't show that. I can't be the one to say this, but this is mental.
Yeah. That
same guy actually would tell me stories about the initiation of going to a sports rugby camp. Mm-hmm. So rugby boys. Have you ever heard about rugby boys initiations?
Yeah, I mean that's the gayest thing in the world.
It's the gayest thing. Well, it's how excited he got explaining this rugby initiation, because it's funny because I think only one slight realization he'd realized that all of it is so insane.
Yeah.
But because of the fever brought up, he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So the initiation, he went with his brother. They had a specific initiation where one guy would piss down his brother's back.
Wow.
So it was like the street, and then he had to lie.
Piss down his own brother?
No, someone pissed down his brother's back.
Wow.
Yeah. So the brother had been initiated, but because his brother was coming in, he had to help this initiation. One guy would piss down his brother's back, and then this guy, my friend, had to lie underneath his brother as the piss rained from his arse and balls into his mouth.
No.
And that was just a side one. The main one, that all the new, like...
How much do you love rugby?
I know.
Because I would do it. I don't play sport.
Yeah.
But I do love...
Yeah.
I love going to the cinema.
Yeah.
If it was like, you can't get into the Odeon new rules now.
Yeah.
I'll never watch a film again then.
Never. What you mean? You have to drink someone's...
to get into an Odeon. They're like, you get into Odeons for free forever, but you can't see a film unless you have someone piss on someone's back and it goes into your mouth. I go, I won't watch films then.
Well, what about doing
I guess I'm not a film guy now.
What about doing stand-up, though? You know?
Well, that is my career now.
And a lot of these guys...
But was rugby their career?
Well, maybe. They didn't have a lot else going for them, I'll tell you that. So the main initiation at this camp was one of like the alphas, I guess, from the year above, would sit on a branch of a tree, okay? Or maybe three of them actually would. Mm-hmm. And all of the new guys had to have their arms on the tree like this. Mm-hmm. And then the three guys above would all shit their brains out.
No.
Yeah, so they all have arms on the tree.
Woke me up 4 times for this. The camera's not even recording. You can't see, but he's so erect right now.
And then the first person to leave, everyone shits on his chest. And he's telling me this, but he's doing it with like a smile on his face, like it's like a funny story. Like, that is the maddest thing I've ever heard.
You were raped.
Same
That's
guy.
Terrible.
I probably should say this, but the same guy. He posted a status saying he passed his maths GCSE when he was like 22 years old.
He passed his
maths GCSE when he was 22 years old. Mm-hmm. And he posted a status saying to all the teachers who didn't believe in me, fuck you.
That's awesome.
But what is amazing though, because it's like the teachers didn't believe that you could pass your maths GCSE before the age of 20. I don't think you've proven them wrong. Do you know what I mean?
No, of course.
You haven't proven.
No. Draws his first picture of a house at 30 years old. To all my reception teachers, they didn't believe me. He said I couldn't colour between the lines. Look at this. Bruh, you're 30.
And that's the same
40
guy.
years old, he gets potty trained. To all my nursery teachers who thought I'd never be shitting outside of nappies. Look at me now.
Yeah. The idea of posting your shoelaces tied like, in your 40s being like, for all the people that I've never done.
You thought I couldn't?
Thought we weren't Velcro for the rest of my life.
And they're like, also I love the whole thing of like the teachers said I couldn't. The teachers would have been trying to help. They weren't going, you'll never be able to do a maths GCSE.
They were going to your parents. I genuinely think he's too thick to do this.
And he needs to do the work, and he's not doing the work.
He needs to, he's letting kids shit on his arm, all right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't believe me. Yeah, instead of your maths homework, you were getting shat on. What would your teachers think? They'd be terrible. Imagine if they looked out the window and they saw him getting shat on and they went, he'll be all right. Do you know what? We best not give him another push. They're your mentors.
Yeah. Or they're saying, I wish I didn't tell him that I didn't believe in him, because look at him now. He's completely thriving.
Like they'd be annoyed.
Yeah. It's like, God, that's
I was hoping he was still getting shat on somewhere. That's disappointing. When we have a thick child, we always just hope that things go really badly for them. That's why we get into teaching.
Yeah. And Edinburgh's been it's a funny vibe, because you see there's a lot of layers to the city at this time of the year, because you have all the kind of cucky, liberal, artsy people who descend en masse on this ancient city, but then out and about you still have the local Scottish people who are so different odds. Like, we saw the two sides of the Scottish spirit on that one night we went out drinking. Well, we finally get a quiet drink with me, you,
oh my God,
Dan, and then I guess a mentally ill person sits across from us and just...
Well, it was rugby, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
We were sat at a pub and we just wanted a quiet drink, a few of us, and this huge man just sits down opposite us.
Ginormous.
And just in silence watches us. And Dan Tiernan, who is like... he's like a portal between comedians and nutters.
Yeah.
Because he knows...
He can speak in the spirit realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a... what do they call him?
It's like a...
What's it called when you bring a linguist? What's it called? Translator?
But it's more like he's a medium.
He's a medium,
He's like a spirit medium.
Yeah.
Because we didn't speak.
He's like, you see the Native American guy that's wearing a suit. Yeah. They've got those guys. One of them's trained as a lawyer.
Yeah.
So he turns up, he opens up his case.
Thank God Tiernan was there, because we weren't able to communicate with him.
So Tiernan, of course, goes, I know him.
Of course he does.
And he apparently, it's quite sad really.
Yeah.
He had an injury in rugby. And so he's not all there. But what he does is he goes from bar to bar every night.
Yeah.
And he sits down opposite people and will just sit there until eventually he asks if he can have their drinks.
Yeah.
And that's what he did to us, one by one.
I mean, it was mad because we were hemmed in the corner.
We were trapped.
And he sat down.
It was Inglourious
staring
Basterds.
at all of us. It was the most aggressive. It was the way that, like, he was leaning into the stair. It was like, it was so hard to have a conversation.
It was like a film.
I've never been more perceived in my life.
Bro was perceiving. But they can't just kick him out because then he goes nutty.
Because he seemed quite sweet when we were speaking to him.
Yeah.
But I feel if you riled him, then he could kill you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not... He was so big that he could have fucked us all up. But apparently he was on day release from a mental asylum.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
They just let him out. So we saw that, and then...
Only 4 pints. You're not going to do that thing that you're famous for doing every night. No. Okay, it's just that every single night you're at a bar getting kicked out because of nicking drinks. And it's our job to protect you. This one is for all the... Imagine he stops doing it and he's like, your man.
Yeah.
This is for all the nurses that said that I would never go out and not do it.
You're 65 years old,
yeah,
man.
You're dying. We're literally trying to protect you again.
But then 20 minutes later, on the way back...
oh my God. Yeah.
We saw this... Well, you explain it. You explain.
Just on the main road, a bus passed us, and on the back of the bus was a teenage boy, or maybe like 20?
Yeah.
20 years old, and he was... I don't even know how he did it. He was hanging off the back of the bus, but there was no ledge to stand on.
It's a single-decker bus. There was like a grate at the back, so it wasn't like he was holding onto a pole. No. This guy, who I guess was 20, very young...
Yeah. Good looking,
lithe, good looking boy. Tom Cruise
didn't look like he was with anyone either. No. And he was like holding onto the grate with his hand, and then
there's like a tiny
bit, and his body's right up next to it. He's like those rock climbers. What's that guy called with the big eyes? Alex.
What do you mean?
There's a famous rock climber.
Oh, you mean the one
free solo. He's free solo in it.
Yeah.
He's there like that, but he's got his little flourish, which was unbelievable. He had 1 foot on the road, scraping along, and the bus was going at speed, and he just did a little move.
Yeah,
he just did a little move and looked at us as he went past and didn't make a noise, but he just was like, did a move.
So cool with it.
So cool with it.
So you saw the two sides of it, and it wasn't for anyone seemingly.
And that's Scotland again.
Yeah,
the cool boys are just that much more.
Well, you were saying that kind of cockiness, if you could pull it off, then it is great.
It's unbelievable.
That overconfidence.
I'm in awe.
But if you can pull it off, it's just because of the... If you don't, obviously it's disaster.
Then that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah.
Is that all it would have taken is a little nick in the road. He'd have fallen, he'd have broken his ankle.
Yeah,
and it would have been the most humiliating thing ever. Yeah. And imagine people go, oh, why is it that you can't walk anymore then? Oh, I climbed on the back of a bus to impress some strangers.
Maybe the guy who was staring at us,
that's what he did.
That's what he'd done.
He was the coolest guy. And people used to always give him free drinks because he was cool, and that's what he remembers. He remembers going into pubs and getting free beers because he was the best guy.
But the guy on the back of the bus,
unbelievable.
He's going to be dead before 30, but he's going to burn bright.
He'll do it all.
Yeah,
he won't need to get to 31.
Yeah,
why would he?
Yeah, he'll do it all.
Amazing.
Well, speaking of that energy, this. There's been some news this Fringe. I mean, on this podcast, we are semi-obsessed with Putin's kind of... You don't want to respect him because he is evil, but every move he does is undeniably baller. Because we used to have a lot of podcast episodes about him poisoning people. I'm a bit obsessed with his poisoning because he poisons all his political enemies. And then it's just the way that if you're the head of a country that has a nuclear Arsenal. You can just deny killing people, because what is anyone going to do? So he just killed all of his enemies, poisoned them with the same poison. So clearly he poisoned them, and then being like, I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Who did it?
No idea. And then this time, so I've been obsessed with Prigozhin and the Wagner military group, because they staged a military coup. It's like, it's literally, you thought this shit happened 100 years ago. It's all happening right now. And it looked like Putin had been a bitch for the first time in his life. Because Wagner, were basically the biggest military force in Ukraine, had turned on Moscow, had turned on Putin's leadership, and were marching on Moscow. Putin's army was all out in Ukraine. He was completely vulnerable. So what Putin does is basically says, look, turn back and I'll forgive everything. We'll just call it quits. I promise. And so he's like, all right, fair enough. They call it quits. And then it looks for the first time like Putin's been a bitch. And it completely changes images. It looks like it's the beginning of the end for Putin, because he's shown a little crack in the armour, you know. And then 3 weeks later, the head of Wagner is in a private jet flying over Moscow, and he shoots it straight down, killing all of the chiefs of this group and Prigozhin himself. And now he has sent out a video message sending condolences to his family, basically saying, we need to find the guy who killed this person. When it's so clearly him. He's done it, and it's like such a dramatic way. He didn't poison him somewhere else. He did it over Moscow. He shot down a plane. Yeah. And then sends condolences to his family, as if it's like, we're trying to find out who did this. You can't help but rate it. Yeah. You just can't help it.
I think as he gave the flowers, he just did a little tiny, not a wink.
Yeah. Just a little something.
Even if it was filmed, he'd be like, oh, that wasn't the thing.
But there's just something amazing about murdering someone and then doing a video about trying to find the killer, you know? Yeah. It's just amazing.
It's like a fuckboy. That wasn't me, baby.
No, baby. What are you talking about?
You're crazy.
He's honestly gaslighting. He's a gaslighting king.
See who the flowers are from. They're from. Why would I kill someone and then send the family flowers?
But yeah, also Trump's mugshot.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably going to be one of the most iconic photos.
He's already selling it.
Is he?
He's selling it. You give a $47 donation and you get a T-shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
What, Trump is?
Yeah.
Well, he's making his own merch.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, it's the first mugshot of a US.
Bro's Kodak Black.
Former US president. It's the first mugshot.
Yeah.
Well, he got pretty sick with it. Because it is interesting. How do you pose for that mugshot when you know it's the most like iconic mugshot of all time?
Yeah, you can't.
You're furious that you're getting indicted.
The rule is you can never smile, can you? That's the big no-no.
You can't. Yeah, I mean, they'd force you to retake it. I swear.
Who was it that smiled? Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people that do. They got arrested and then their mugshots and then. Yeah, you got to look as blank as possible.
How would you do your mugshot though if you're Trump?
If I was Trump?
Yeah.
Well, I can't speak for Trump.
No, can you not?
No. But for me, you'd want to look good, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Hugh Grant looks good on his.
Yeah. Be like, I might be like, I'll be like greasy with it. I'll be a bit like shitty about it. So my tongue will be out and I'll be like, ah.
Really?
Yeah. Because you're sort of owning the narrative a bit like, ah.
I think that might be worse than a smile.
Do you think?
Yeah.
If I'm just going, ah.
Yeah.
Devil horns.
After you've just like killed a family with your car. Live fast, die young. Asking him if you can do it as a boomerang instead.
But Bros was glaring. It was a full-on glare. Yeah. That's what, because he's livid about it. So I guess that's what he has to convey during the mugshot. It's just how unbelievably livid he is at the
He'll be president again.
I think so. Well, it's more like, can he get arrested? Because if he doesn't, he still is the GOAT at roasts. I mean, because he's been taken off social media, you don't get the full level of him. But every time I watch a video, I'm like, the mainstream media is trying to keep away just how amazing his roasts are. Because whenever I search them out, I'm like, how have I missed this? Because in 2016, we got all of the great ones. You know, You'd Be in Jail, all those bangers. Yeah. He called Ron DeSantis Ron DeSanctimonious. And he said, unfortunately for Ron, They haven't yet invented a personality transplant because that's what he needs.
Amazing.
So like, I do think probably he would get in again. I don't know. Well, it's only if Biden doesn't run. I've enjoyed Biden, but I wouldn't want another round of Biden. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think with Biden we get the bit now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Trump is still. I did get.
Biden's got
Trump.
a good 10 minutes, but an hour.
Yeah.
He's a club comic.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's a character act. You know,
it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
His gimmick is that he falls over and he's old.
And he loves kissing children.
I guess that's
pretty funny.
That's pretty good. The smelling hair. I mean, I guess it does always make me laugh. Biden like going in the wrong direction. I guess he could take it to an extreme. Like if he came out with if he started pissing himself live, if he's got his blazer on backwards, you know. Mm-hmm. If he's got his pants outside his trousers, like I guess there's like an escalation.
He starts standing outside the White House. You know that old people do, and they just look at the street.
Yeah, watching cars go by.
Yeah, out in a dressing gown with twitching the curtains.
But Trump, I guess, is sort of changing up a little bit. I did get pretty bored of Trump near the end though, because it was sort of like we've heard these roasts before. Can we talk about you starring in a play this year?
Yeah, we can't. We're not going to name it.
No, we can't.
Well, I've got a bad history with plays.
Last year you.
Yeah. I basically. Well, last year's one was funny because someone asked me to be a COVID cover for 3 people in a play. Yeah. And the sell to me was it'll be like, I don't know how much, £600, £700 for the month, maybe less. And you won't do it. Yeah. They were like, we don't want to use you, so you won't be doing it. And then when I got there, and all I had to do was turn up to the dress rehearsal and watch it, and then just be on call. Turned up there. I was actually going to be COVID support for I think 7 of them. Yeah. And then I went to the dress rehearsal and they were running late, so they couldn't show me it. So I never saw it. And then I wasn't contractually obliged to see it because my run then started. So
would you potentially be in the play as a proper character, having not seen it?
It's a musical as well. I didn't know that until I got there. Musical.
Or were you singing?
Yeah. So
would you be singing with script and been trying to...
Singing and dancing with the script in my hand. By the way, a 400-seater. That's sold out. So halfway through the Fringe, someone drops out and they say, "You need to come today." And I was like, "Well, I've never seen it."
I mean, it'd be quite, because I guess there is sort of nothing to lose because it's like you can't be blamed for it. There is something quite exciting. There's probably something quite thrilling about being in a play where it's really heavily rehearsed. Everyone knows their lines. And you're wondering about as a key part of it, just with the script.
Exactly, the gimmick. But the thing is, these things sound fun.
I don't mean fun for the audience. I mean just like, what a mad experience. Yeah. Well, it's literally like a nightmare. It's like waking up. It's like if you have stage fright. And it's the idea of like, imagine if I was up there and I didn't know any of my lines. Yeah. I didn't know what the play was about. It's the nightmare that actors have before opening night. Yeah. Is that they have no... and you get to live that out. We're in a sort of risk-free environment in some ways.
Yeah.
But you never did it in the end.
No, it turned up, they cancelled one of the plays because someone couldn't do it and I didn't have time. So we spent an hour rehearsing an hour-long play.
Do you remember any of like the songs or anything? Like what was the vibe?
I can't remember. I literally can't remember. But then I never had to do it. But there was one where I was going to have to do it. And I obviously told you and Floddy and Tin and told my boys and I was like, look, because you said straight away, can I come and see you?
Yeah, I'd love to.
And I said, of course you can, but don't tell anyone else.
Yeah.
And then they said, look, you're going to be in tomorrow. And I told you. And then it didn't come through, thank God. And then I'd only just got to know Sean Walsh. Yeah. Went to see his show. Yeah. And then, meet his girlfriend at the back of the room. She goes, "Oh, wait, me and Sean were going to come see you in a musical today, but you weren't on. Apparently it didn't happen." I was like, "Well, who have you been telling everyone?" And it turned out there was going to be like 20 comedians. Some of whom are ones that I really respect and have never seen me do stand-up until at that point. And they're going to see me bombing a musical in front of 400 people.
You've got to. You've got to take these opportunities when they come along. They might never. These opportunities come along once in a lifetime.
What I loved about it is that in another when I used to act before I did stand up.
Yeah.
And I was never professional in many ways, but used to want to try to be.
Yeah.
And what I loved is that it was funny how unprofessional I was.
Yeah.
Because another actor would be like, oh yeah, I know I'm only contractually obliged to watch the tech, but of course I'll come and step in whenever I can.
Yeah.
And you'd be hoping for someone to drop out.
Yeah.
And you'd cherish all those things. Whereas I now see most theatre as like...
But your actor mindset's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would I ever want to sing a song ever?
Yeah.
Why would I ever want to learn a dance? If I can't break out of it and be like...
Well, the acting mindset is one of hope. And it's one of like... There's goodness in the world and there's things to strive for.
I think the thing I really struggle with, not actually with this play, but with theatre in general, is when you do stand up, people just talk about how it was a good show, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to press nights for just about any play,
and
someone does a speech, and the speech is always something along the lines of like, "This is a story that needs to be told."
Yeah.
And these cunts think they're changing the world.
Yeah.
Like so often you go and do a play, and the play will be above everything. It should just be entertained. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But that's theatre. That's why I'm not into it, because I'm wrong. Because obviously it does other things.
Yeah.
But I was always so depressed by being in like a rented area of the theatre where they've got staff giving out free prosecco to like press people, and they're saying this is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And I always was like, this isn't. I could never get my head around that.
Well, so you never once bought. You never once bought into it.
I was just like, this isn't the way. This just isn't it. We're doing, because I always did it. I always did it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure most people that I do stuff, I always thought you're doing this for you.
Yeah.
Stand up is such a selfish thing.
But so clearly is.
So clearly selfish.
Yeah.
Whereas
with theatre, there's the illusion that this is like.
Yeah. Oh, we're here to tell stories and like shine light on the thing.
No, you're not. That aren't told.
No, you're not.
No,
you want to show off. You want to get like £500 a week to like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If it's for telling the story, don't do the bow at the end. Then don't. Yeah. If it's about shining light on immigration, and you want and trying to make a move, don't do this at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you were a lawyer in court, you wouldn't do it. If you were a charity worker, you wouldn't do it. No, this is for them.
Yeah, it's true.
And then the play I did this year.
Yeah.
A very nice lad called Brendan, who's an actor who works at a pub that runs a comedy night. Mm. They're doing a play where they need someone to cameo every day and just step in as step in.
How do you keep ending up with it? You make such weird decisions.
I know. I can't say.
Surely you've progressed out of this, because you have a tendency to make some absolutely shocking decisions.
Yeah.
You are getting better.
I've got scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm offered anything, no matter how awful it sounds and how little it's paid, I'm always like, but if I don't do this might be the last thing I ever get. And I'm only just training myself out of that. I'm only just, anytime a single thing comes on my way. Do you want to do this thing? It'll be absolutely awful. It's at 1 a.m. Well,
I might never.
This might be the last thing I ever do. So if I don't do this one, then nothing will ever happen.
Yeah.
So I've always had that. But I think I've also got the hangover of being an actor when, there would have been a point when if someone said to me, oh, do you want to come up and do a thing at the Pleasance in front of 400 people? I'd be like, great. I can put that on my spotlight. Yeah. Wouldn't that look cool?
No, it wouldn't look cool. So what was this play? Oh, no, you can't say what the play was.
Well, I mean, it was a good play. I didn't watch it, to be fair.
Yeah.
But obviously. It was a really fun play where what do they do? The joke is the lead actor never turns up, so they get someone out of the audience.
Yeah. Plants or?
Yeah, it's an Oscar Wilde play. And they get no, not a plant, a real audience member.
Okay.
And they have to do all the stuff. And then they have a different person come in every day, a different cameo actor or comedian comes on and goes, I'm the actor, I'm going to finish the play, and they're like a real diva. And by the time they come on, the audience is meant to hate them because they've heard all this stuff about them. Yeah. Then they argue with then the actor goes, no, we want whoever's just come out of the audience. No, we want Jimmy to do it, and everyone cheers. And then I have a strop, and then a door opens and hits me, and I fall on the floor. Yeah. So it was to be on stage for 5 minutes. Yeah. I agreed to it months ago. Couldn't do it early in the month, so then they rescheduled it to this week, on the day of which I found out I got nominated for the best newcomer, which is, I understand from most people. Like, for me,
it's a very big deal.
For me, it's a big deal.
Yeah, of course it is. It's massive.
But what's so funny is it couldn't have mattered less to these people.
Really?
So I turned up an hour after I got the thing. So I was like, everyone I was with, including you, were like, pap it off. Yeah. I mean, you famously said,
what?
I said I have to go, and you said, Pad, you could punch a homeless man in the face and you'd be fine. You don't need to go and do a play. And I was like, yeah, but I still had this poor cunt mentality. I was like, no, I've said I was going to. And also, I did, who cares? It was just an hour out of my day. But yeah, it was so fun. I went down there just after I got the news, and the director was like trying to explain to me all the things. And he went, you look a bit distracted. I was like, oh, sorry, I've
probably never been more distracted.
I've never been more. And I said to him, can we talk? Because it's Pleasance Courtyard is a big outside area where loads of shows are.
Yeah.
And I said, can we find a room? He said, no, let's just do it here in the bar. So as we're talking, comedians keep coming up to me and being like, man, well done. And he's like, you seem distracted. I was like, oh, I've just been nominated for Best Newcomer. And he went, right. So listen, and then just carries on. But it was I loved it because the whole time everyone was very nice, but I did think they were treating me as if like, you are so lucky.
But that you must have loved that though.
I loved it.
It's probably really nice because I feel after you get nominated for an award, if people are being really sycophantic, then you get imposter syndrome. Do you know what I mean?
Well, also it just shows that it's nothing as well.
But it's quite nice having this massive career thing and then people treating you sort of like shit.
Yeah, I loved it. Afterwards. I loved it. And then by the way, also I bombed.
Did you? No.
Because he said comedians often try and come on and like get loads of laughs.
Yeah.
Because but the audience has been trained that when you come on they won't like you. And I thought I'll get.
You thought you'd get them around.
Yeah.
I just got nominated.
I just got nominated. It's a 400 seater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, they don't get laughs.
Yeah.
Bombed.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Congratulations on the nomination. I think. Did you find that the shows post nomination? I always feel like there'd be like on X Factor when the person wins and they have to do their song one more time. That's how I imagine it is. And then like there's a bit more of a smile on their face. They're kind of like they're panting.
I think if it's probably going to be very uninteresting, but basically, yeah. You also once again you come on and you assume that everyone knows. Yeah. And then it comes up and not everyone knows, and you suddenly seem like a cunt for being like...
Mate, you brought your award on stage.
I did bring my award on stage. I did do that. But also there's loads of people there. It's a different type of audience because people are now there for work. Yeah. So a guy came in late and I rinsed him. It turned out he lived with his parents and I rinsed him even more, called him an incel, And then I asked him what he did for a living, and he said, I'm a commissioner for Sky. Oh, and I went, So then I like bowed on the floor to him. I pointed my award to him like that. And then I picked on these boys in the front. Yeah. And then, they worked for Vice and BBC. So then I just couldn't... So yesterday was a weird show because anywhere I pointed at...
There's people
people that could give me jobs.
Perceiving my boy.
I was going like, someone who's maybe could give me a job. Mm-hmm. Did I tell you about L Ron Hubbard? Did I tell you about his wife?
What happened to his wife?
He got with this younger woman and he asked her to marry him and she said no, and he said, I'll kill myself if you don't marry me. So then she married him and they went on a honeymoon. They stayed in a lighthouse.
Could be the move.
The first night.
Well, it's very you though. You that's the way you do comedy. If you don't laugh at this, I'll kill myself. Yeah, is the sort of vibe that you have on stage.
Yeah, that's true actually.
So you're sort of the L Ron Hubbard of comedy.
Yeah, that's the relationship I have with my audience. They stayed in a lighthouse on their honeymoon. Yeah, and he punched her awake because she was smiling in her sleep.
Jesus Christ!
Isn't that the worst thing?
Jesus Christ!
I found that out years ago.
That was me today trying to get you to the pod.
See me hugging my award. You don't need to do a pod today. Why would you? Pod.
A punch awake.
Punch awake. Smiling in her sleep. Yeah. Bro's jealous.
Yeah.
Bro's insecure. Imagine being jealous of dreams. It's one thing to be like, I know you and him. You say you're mates at work, but I feel like you text him too much. Yeah. A dream. Yeah. L Ron.
Just smiling.
My boy, you make books up about aliens. You think we're all aliens. No. Oh, that's really sad.
Have you been to the Scientology place, haven't you?
We both have.
Yeah, I went to the big Blackfriars one. It is. You guys should all go because it is free because they got so much money, obviously, from devious means.
Go in with I would say go in with a fake email and phone number that works because they do text you and they do call you and they do email you. Mm. But yeah, I did a personality.
But no,
I did a personality test.
But they're not. But the thing is that they're only interested in you if you have money. Do you know what I mean? They're not, because it's not like most other religions where they're just trying to get masses. They just need. It's the only reason where it costs the subscription fee is like millions.
Did you get the graph?
Yeah,
amazing.
I forgot what I got though. Because yours was that you're the saddest cunt who's ever lived.
And they were right. That was what was scary. It was a bit Jeremy and Peep Show. They said all these things, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they tried to scam
So what did you? So you went in and you just did the test.
No, I spoke to loads of people. What was weird is I never saw more than 2 people at once.
Well,
it was either one person, and then someone else would come in and be 2 of them, and then one person. But over the course of a few hours, I must have spoken to 15 people. No, maybe 10 people.
Are you implying that there's one person who keeps changing outfits?
No, I just said there was a big machine going on that,
yeah.
You know, it was, I'd love you to meet my friend Greg, and then Greg would come in and he'd be talking to me.
And then he's got like a bad moustache.
They showed me a DVD
yeah.
of like a football pitch, and they're like, here's what happens when there's not enough structure, and it would just be someone kicking a ball across a field easily. Yeah. And it was easy and it was boring. Yeah. Here's when there's too much, and there'd be like loads of defenders. What? Yeah. And they're like this. And then it would go to the one where there's no one. Then he's like, oh. And then with Scientology, it's the perfect amount. He's like, yeah. I remember that. I remember that it looked amazing. It looked like it cost $10 million to produce. It looked amazing.
So Scientology's like, that's like literally like a 30-second advert.
Yeah.
You know.
They're just showing. They probably made it just for me.
If you don't have enough players.
I probably mentioned football, and they probably made it for $10 million while they were talking to me. That's why they kept coming in like they were wearing football kit and they're taking it off and getting.
So the video I saw when I was there was like this business guy, very sleek. He's walking around down a street, and I think like the smell of like garlic or something from like a stinky sandwich or something, and he smelt it, and it like he really didn't like it, or like it's a smell that it's not petrol. Or maybe it was a smell of petrol.
Right.
And it was like, he really didn't like that smell. And then it was because in a past life, probably, he had like a petrol fueled incident that had like fucked him up.
Oh.
So that's what a lot of Scientology is that the way, so, you know, the reason why you are the way you are.
Is because someone used to bugger me in a kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a Victorian version of you was.
Little chimney sweep me was good.
Because it's quite funny. I was speaking about this with Andrew quite a bit, which is like, is this implication that you've had many past lives?
Yeah.
But Andrew feels like quite a young, even though we're like 6 months apart in age, he feels like quite a young soul. And I feel like quite an old soul. Like I'm an ancient dude stuck in a young person's body. Like it feels like, I don't feel like Andrew's had many iterations of himself.
He might be the first one.
I think he's had 3 or 4.
Well, how many have you
You're
had?
ancient. I've had loads, but you're an ancient dude as well. Like there's been so many Paddies. They've and I don't think trial and error.
I don't think one of them's had a good life.
No,
and that's why I am the poorest cunt in the world.
Do you think?
Yeah,
not one. You haven't had. This is the best.
Yeah.
This is the best any Paddy's ever done. This nomination.
Because sometimes I think that my life is really hard, and then I'm constantly reminded by people like you. You don't have to be the poorest, saddest cunt in the world about everything.
But so then your ancestors are all getting together and they're just whinging. You know that scene in Mulan where
I think my previous me's. I think something happened because you're meant to repeat however many hundreds of years. Yeah. I think a glitch happened, and in the plague, I just kept being reborn as something else. Like I think your past life last time would have probably been about 400 years ago, and it would have been like a prince somewhere in Persia.
Yeah, Persian prince.
You've had all your lives have been amazing.
No, but that's your attitude. No, your attitude is I've had nothing.
Not only am I jealous of my friends' lives, I'm jealous of my friends' previous lives that I've just made up. I was genuinely annoyed at you then. I was genuinely like, I can't believe you got to be a prince and I was in the plague, realising I've just made that up. I am the poorest, most bitter little man in the world.
Yeah, I think I can imagine you were pulling the rocks to the pyramids.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you were. Do you know what I think you were?
I was doing the whipping, but I was...
You didn't like...
But I was sunburned.
You didn't like...
I was getting sunburned.
No, you...
And I was going, this actually does really hurt as well.
Yeah.
I know it's not
what you're complaining about how your arm... you're constantly, and you're complaining about how like there's not like a good enough vitamins in the diet that you guys have been given. It's like
and also that they don't
is that what
respect
you're
me.
eating this every day?
They fear me, but they don't. They don't respect me. I just want to be liked.
It's so true. Right. Well, thanks. Sorry, listeners, for the posting.
Thanks, Paddy, for stepping in.
No,
Sorry
for the posting schedule. We try to make. We'll be back to weekly normal podcasting. Thanks very much for coming, Pad.
It's all right.
It's been a pleasure. It's a treat. Maybe we'll do one of these every Fringe as we find things for you to get more and more successful and more. And you
can come in earlier and earlier into my bedroom.
But yeah, thanks very much for listening, guys.
Maybe you can come on when I'm on stage next year.
Do you think?
I'll be on stage and you go, Pad, I need to do it now.
What, knocking on the door?
Yeah, and I go, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Love, hugs and kisses. Thanks.
A little bit of fucking.
A little bit of shagging. Thanks for your continued support over this month. This is where views will always drop.
This one will be dropped. I can feel it. No one's ever going to listen to this. What you just said then. By the time we got to this point, no one's ever going to.
What do you think? 5 minutes.
We're speaking to ourselves.
Yeah. This is
it's not embarrassing because no one is going to hear this.
You can literally say whatever you want about anyone. You can say your darkest secret now. No one's going to hear it.